We're on the eve of Election Day with ballots postmarked by tomorrow or in a ballot drop box by 8 p.m. tomorrow night. It may be an off-year election, but the results will reshape local governments. Here is a rundown of some of the top races that voters will decide.
From the South Sound to the North Sound, the question is, who will run cities like Tacoma and Everett starting in 2026? In Tacoma, it's an open seat with Anders Ibsen versus John Hines. Both have experience as former Tacoma City Council members. In Everett, incumbent Cassie Franklin is trying to hold her seat after 8 years in office. She's challenged by Scott Murphy. Murphy served in Everett City Council from 2013 to 2021. The Everett mayor's race is expected to be a close one. The most high-profile mayoral race is going down in Seattle. Incumbent Democrat Bruce Harrell squaring off with Katie Wilson, a Democratic socialist. Seattleites will make that crucial vote, and they will also have the power to decide on more taxes. Prop 1 would replace an expiring levy for a larger one. It would raise property taxes to generate $1.3 billion over 6 years. The money would pay for more affordable child care, school resources, and free 2-year tuition for Seattle colleges. Prop 2 is asking voters to raise taxes on large Seattle companies to generate around $81 million additional dollars per year. Much of that will go to plugging the city's budget shortfall. Also in Seattle, voters are deciding 3 city council seats and the city attorney. From cities to county government, the most anticipated county race this November is the King County Executive. 2 current council members, Claudia Balducci and Gurmai Zahalai, vying for that top seat. When it comes to a statewide issue, we have Resolution 8201. This is a proposed amendment to the Long-Term Care Fund, also known as Washington Cares Fund, which will provide benefits to eligible seniors and people with disabilities. 8201 would allow the state to change the state constitution to invest funds in stocks of private companies instead of government bonds. Voters will also have a chance to shape the future of the state legislature. 2 Senate races have Republicans pushing for wins, with Democrats holding almost a supermajority right now. It's Republican Chad Magandance versus Democrat Victoria Hunt for Senate District 5, representing East King County to Enumclaw. Then we have District 26. It's Democrat Deb Krishna Dawson against Republican Michelle Caldeer for a seat representing parts of Kitsap Peninsula, like Gig Harbor to Bremerton.
We are joined by our political analyst now, Sandeep Kaushik. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So I want to start with those 2 Senate races that I brought up, because it is going to impact the balance of power in the state legislature. And they are, Legislative District 26, Krishna Dawson versus Caldeer, and then you've got Magandance versus Hunt, right, for Legislative 5. In the case with Caldeer and Krishna Dawson, I hear that a lot of money is being poured into that one. Is that right, still?
Absolutely. Tons of money poured in. Kind of from kind of labor and progressive forces on behalf of Krishna Dawson, and then in particular elements of the business community have poured a ton of money in supporting Caldeer in that race.
So Sandeep, you have worked on prior Seattle mayor elections. You always seem to pick winners in the past. I know that. I know you've worked on a number of candidates. You call yourself a Democrat, a moderate Democrat, correct?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Moderate to liberal.
Okay. Yeah. Just because you're going to be with us all night for election night tomorrow night, so I want our audience to know kind of where you're coming from. When you look at Bruce Harrell and Katie Wilson right now, here we are just a day before ballots have to come in. What does each candidate need to focus on, or what are they doing today to try to change the undecided vote to go their way?
Well, they're doing full-on last-minute campaigning. I got an email, in fact, from the mayor's campaign just today saying, hey, if you're undecided, call this number and the mayor may call you back, or we'll send you a text message. And, so they're really out there, in this kind of last big frantic push to try to get every contact they can with voters who are still making up their minds. And there still are a lot of voters who are kind of looking at their ballot now and deciding. Something like 70% of all the people that will vote in this election will vote those last 4 days: Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesdays.
Yeah, we always wait till the end because we don't know what's going to happen in the 3 weeks leading up from when we got the ballots, right? Is that like a lot of people?
That is like a lot of people, and it's more and more that way as we've gotten more used to mail-in voting. It used to be back when we first started in 2007, 2008, like 25% of people would vote that first weekend that the ballots arrived 3 weeks out. But now it's, it's a very small number of people that vote initially, and people kind of wait till the end because they know a lot of stuff happens in these last 3 weeks.
Do you foresee a shift, especially in Seattle, towards more progressive candidates? And I ask because you had even mentioned in comparing Katie Wilson to Mamdani, what's going on in New York. She has said that she is more democratic socialist, so more left than Harrell. And then you've got Seattle City Council seats that are up for grabs right now, where a lot of progressive did really well in the primaries. So do you see a shift happening?
It looks that way, yeah. And certainly when you look at the primary results, it looks like Seattle voters, in particular reacting to Trump's victory last November, are moving back in a more progressive direction. They're not, I think they're just unhappy with the status quo, anxious about the future, feel like the city itself and sort of its values are under assault from the Trump administration. And I think that's making them much more restless and more willing to kind of look at challengers as opposed to sort of sticking with incumbents.
But to ask about that, follow-up to that, because Harrell has come out over the years and have been critical about Trump. So how does that match up, though? It's not like he's saying, hey, I support him. So why would they go with Wilson and not with Harrell?
Sure. It's funny because in almost any other city or jurisdiction around the country, Bruce Harrell would be seen as a very progressive Democrat, right? But this is Seattle, and we're a very, very progressive town, and Katie Wilson is certainly running to his left. She has embraced the socialist label. She wears that proudly, and I think she's saying he's too establishment, he's too status quo, and she's saying, look, the Democratic Party, you all failed us in this last election. We got Trump now, and you have no power, and it's because of these establishment Democrats who haven't delivered, right? That's her critique of Bruce, and that's what she rode to her success in the primary.
Before we leave, I want to talk about King County Executive Gurmai Zahalai and Claudia Balducci. Where does your polling show this stands right now?
Well, there's been some public polling recently that showed Claudia Balducci slightly ahead of Gurmai, but a close race, and with still a significant undecided vote, right? So this race is going to be decided by those late deciders. Are they going to, which direction are they going to break, and who are they going to go with? And I think that's really, it's a close enough race right now that that's going to determine the outcome.
Yeah, we say every vote counts, and literally it does when it gets really close here at the end.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh, it's the last days of a campaign are just really frantic campaigning. They're doing everything they can to kind of get their message out there, make contact with voters, and kind of give that last extra push that might move, another segment of the electorate in their direction.
Sandeep, thank you. If you want to go back and look at some of the coverage we have, Hannah hosted a debate. I hosted a debate between the mayoral candidates. You can find all of that at fox13seattle.com as you continue to do your research.
And again, join us for live coverage on election night, breaking down all the results. That's tomorrow night from 8 to 10 p.m. on Fox 13 Plus and, of course, on the Fox local app.